The camera stopped rolling. The lights dimmed slowly. The final scene had ended. Ana de Armas stood quietly in the center of the set, her breath still shaky from the emotional monologue she had just delivered. It had taken every ounce of her heart. Her hands were trembling, her voice had cracked near the end, and her eyes had welled up with real tears. She had poured her soul into that performance, but the room stayed silent. No one clapped, no one moved, not even the director, Ana. Blinked. Maybe they were processing it, she thought. Maybe they were in awe. Maybe it was too deep, too raw. But seconds kept ticking by. Still, not a single person acknowledged her. She looked down, her heart sinking. Shame crept up her spine like a cold wind. Maybe she had failed. Maybe it wasn't enough. Maybe all those nights rehearsing alone, crying into her scripts, all the hard work, meant nothing. Behind her, someone coughed. A crew member began wrapping cables. Another turned off one of the stage lights. That was it. Ana turned slowly and walked toward her chair in the corner, trying to hold her head up, but her shoulders had already slumped. Her lips pressed together tightly as her eyes began to sting. Then, from across the room, a single sound broke the silence. Clap, clapana, paused, clap. 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 She turned around. It was Keanu Reeves. He had stood up from his seat, calm but steady. His face showed no judgment. No performance, just truth. He kept clapping, not loud or dramatic, but real. Every clap echoed in the empty room. Like a message, he believed in her. Everyone turned. Some looked confused, others embarrassed. But Keanu didn't stop. His eyes didn't leave Ana's. His clapping was not for show. It wasn't to correct the others. It was just his way of saying, I saw you. I felt every word. You were enough. Ana's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they didn't burn. They were soft. She smiled, just a little, and took a deep breath. Then another crew member clapped. Then the director. Then the whole room. But Ana didn't hear them. She only heard Keanu. Hours later, the crew was gone. The set was empty again. Ana sat alone, legs crossed on the stage floor, staring at the spotlight that had just been turned off. Her mind was still spinning. So many thoughts, memories, doubts. A coat dropped on her shoulders gently. She looked up. Keanu sat down beside her. Didn't say a word. Ana looked at him. You didn't have to do that, she whispered. Yes, I did, he said softly. They sat there for a moment, both quiet. I thought I failed, Ana said. When no. One clapped. It felt like I was invisible. Keanu nodded slowly. Sometimes people don't see you, not because you're not good, but because they're busy looking somewhere else. Ana tilted her head, confused. Where? Like themselves, he said. His voice was calm, not angry, just honest. She let out a small breath and leaned back against the wall. I've been trying so hard to be seen, to be enough. You already are, Keanu said. Ana closed her eyes. The tears came again, but this time she didn't hide them. The next day, the internet was filled with noise. A leaked video from the set had gone viral. Someone had recorded the moment. The silence. Keanu standing. The slow clap. Comments flooded in. She gave her soul, and they ignored her. Keanu was class. That moment saved her. Adana didn't look at the comments. She didn't post about it. She didn't retweet it. She stayed quiet, because something inside her had changed. Not because the world saw the video, but because one person saw her before anyone else did. Later that week, Ana was invited to a panel interview. For the film, everyone was there, the director, the producer, the main cast. Including Keanu, the interviewer smiled and said, Ana, the internet can't stop talking about your final scene. And of course, the clap heard around the world. Some in the crowd chuckled. Ana looked at Keanu, who smiled gently. How did that moment feel for you? The interviewer asked. Donna took a second. Then she said, It felt like someone opened a door I didn't know I was knocking on. The audience went quiet. She continued, When you give everything and the room stays silent, it can break you. But when one person sees you, really sees you, it can put you back together. Keanu looked down, humble as always. He didn't save me with applause, Anna added. He saved me by noticing. After the interview, Anna and Keanu stepped. Outside, the sky was a deep orange, the sun slowly dipping behind the Hollywood hills. You have a way of disappearing in a room full of people, Yana said with a small smile. Keanu chuckled. Maybe I just watch quietly. Thank you. Anna whispered. You don't need to thank me, he said. Just remember who you are, not who they say you are. She nodded. They stood there for a while, not saying much, just sharing silence like old friends. But inside Anna's heart, something had shifted forever. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen, and that changed everything. The next few days moved slowly. Anna stayed home. She turned off her phone. She didn't want to read the articles, watch the interviews, or see her name trending. The moment had gone viral, yes, but to her it wasn't about the spotlight. It was about what it meant, something personal, something quiet, but the world didn't stop. Messages poured in, friends called. Her team wanted her to lean into the moment. They said it could change everything for her career. New scripts arrived. Brands reached out. Interviews were requested, but Anna didn't feel excited. She felt hard. The moment on stage had opened something deep inside her. Not just the pain of being ignored, but the years of pushing herself to be seen, to be heard, to prove that she belonged. And suddenly, she wasn't sure what she was chasing anymore. Keanu noticed. He hadn't heard from her either. He gave it 3 days. Then he sent a simple text. Hey, you okay? Anna stared at it for a long time before replying. Not really. The response came back quickly. Want to go for a drive? Anna met Keanu near a quiet road outside Los Angeles. He stood beside an old motorcycle wearing a worn leather jacket, his hair tied back. She smiled weakly. You still ride that thing? It's older than some of our co-stars, he joked. I believe it. He handed her a helmet. They didn't speak much on the ride. The wind carried away the silence. Anna closed her eyes behind the visor. The first time in days, she felt free from the noise. They rode into the hills, far away from the city, to a place Anna had never been. A small lake hidden among tall trees. No people. No traffic. Just nature. Quiet and kind. Keanu parked the bike and walked with her down to the water. You don't talk much? Yana said softly. I listen, he replied. Why did you bring me here? 'Cause the world won't follow you here, he said. Yana sat on a rock near the edge, hugging her knees. I don't know who I am when people stop watching, she said. Keanu sat beside her. That's when you find out. Anna looked at the water. Her reflection danced in the ripples. I thought I needed their applause, she whispered. You don't, Keanu said. Then why did it hurt so much when no one clapped? 'Cause you cared, he answered. Anna didn't reply. She just watched the ripples fade. Then he said, but the real applause, it's the kind that matters, comes when you're alone. Ass! The sun dipped behind the hills. They stayed until the stars came. Out, Anna leaned her head against Keanu's shoulder. Did you ever feel invisible? She asked. He was quiet for a moment. Once he said, what did you do? I stopped trying to be seen, he said, and started trying to see others. Anna blinked. I don't understand, she said. When you stop chasing the world's approval, he said gently, you start noticing the people who are really there. Not for the spotlight, not for the fame, just there. Like you were, Anna whispered. Keanu didn't respond. He just gave a small nod. 2 days later, Anna went back to set, not for filming, but to collect a few things she had left behind. The place felt different now. Some crew members nodded at her. Others smiled awkwardly. It was clear they had seen the video. Everyone was a little more careful, a little more polite, but Anna didn't need that. Anymore, she walked straight to the center of the stage and stood alone. This was where it happened, where she gave her heart and no one noticed except one. She closed her eyes. The silence felt different now. Not heavy, not cold, but peaceful. Behind her, someone approached. Anna, she turned. It was Lucas, the assistant camera operator. Young, nervous, kind. Hey, she said. I wanted to say something, he said quickly. Sure. Was here that day when it happened. I didn't clap. And I felt horrible since. I just didn't know what to do. Anna looked at him softly. Thank you for telling me. It was one of the best performances I've ever seen, Lucas said. She smiled. Thank you. He looked down, embarrassed. Keanu, he reminded us all what it means to really show up for someone. Anna nodded. He did. Later that night, Anna sat at her kitchen table, reading a letter. Not a message, not an email, but a real, handwritten letter. It was from an actress in Spain, someone she had never met. The woman wrote, I saw your scene, the way you stood there after pouring out your heart, and how no one clapped. It felt like my own story. I've spent years waiting for someone to see me. Thank you for showing us we're not alone, Anna cried, reading those words, she realized. Her pain had reached someone else, and in that, it became something more than pain. It became connection. A week passed. Anna got an invitation to an awards ceremony. The film had been nominated. Producers wanted the full cast to attend. Anna didn't want to go, not because she was afraid, but because it didn't matter to her anymore. But Keanu called. I'll go if you go, he said. Anna laughed. Cheating maybe, he said, but sometimes showing up is enough. So she went. The night was loud, glamorous, cameras flashing, people smiling with empty eyes. But Anna stood calm. She walked the carpet with grace. She didn't pretend. She didn't perform. She just showed up inside the hall as the names were read and the applause echoed through the room. Anna looked around. Then she leaned over to Keanu and whispered, Even if no one claps tonight, I'll be okay. Keanu smiled. Good, he said, because sometimes the loudest claps happen in silence. The awards night ended quietly for Anna. The film didn't win. There were no trophies, no big speeches, no standing ovations, but Anna felt no disappointment. In fact, as the lights dimmed and people left their tables, she felt strangely calm. It was the first time she had gone to an event like that and not needed the applause. After the ceremony, as the cast gathered for drinks, Keanu stayed by her side. They didn't say much, but every time someone interrupted to congratulate others, and skipped over Anna, he noticed, when a producer praised everyone except her. Keanu's eyes flicked sideways, not with anger, but with quiet truth. Anna didn't need defending. She just needed someone to stand beside her, and that Keanu did without words. The next morning, Anna woke up early. The sun was pouring through her curtains. Her phone buzzed softly on the table. She hesitated before checking it. There was a new message. From Keanu Breakfast. Place we talked about? Anna smiled. The place was a tiny cafe hidden near a lake, far from downtown. They had discovered it during a walk weeks ago and had promised to return when they needed quiet, she replied, already getting dressed. The cafe was nearly empty. Just the two of them and an old couple by the window. Keanu sat across from her, sipping tea, watching the sunlight flicker on the surface of his cup. So, Keanu said, stirring her spoon slowly, are you always this silent? Not always, Keanu said. Just when there's nothing to prove. Anna smiled at that. Everyone's talking about you again. How you clapped. How you stood up when no one else did. He shrugged. That wasn't for them. I know, she said. But it changed a lot for me. She looked down at her hands, then back at him. You gave me something that night, what? He asked softly. Permission, she said. To stop begging. Keanu leaned back. You never had to. Anna nodded slowly. I know now. Outside the cafe, they walked down to the lake again. Anna paused near the edge, watching a small bird. Hop near the water? I got offered a big role yesterday, she said. Keanu looked over. It's huge. Big budget, lead role. Everything I once wanted. And, he asked. I don't know if I want it anymore, she said. Why not? 'Cause it's all noise. The kind of noise that drowns me. Keanu nodded but said nothing. Anna sat, down on the grass, pulling her knees close. I used to dream of hearing people cheer for me, standing on a stage, getting awards, hearing applause that echoed forever. And now? Keanu asked. Now. I think I'd rather have one. Person clap for the real me than 1,000 cheer for someone I'm pretending to be? Keanu smiled gently. Then you're becoming free. Later that week, Anna did something she hadn't done in years. She visited her old theater school. The halls were smaller than she remembered. The walls were still covered with old photos and dusty certificates. A place full of beginnings. Her old acting teacher, Miss Alina, still worked there. Anna, she said warmly, embracing her. You look tired and wise. That's a good sign. Anna laughed. I don't feel wise. That's how it starts, the teacher said. When you begin to ask why you perform, not just how. They sat in the rehearsal room. It's the same one, where Anna had cried over monologues, laughed over failed scenes, and whispered dreams to the ceiling when no one was watching. I forgot what this place feels like, Anna said. Then you've been chasing the wrong lights, Miss Elena replied. Anna stared at the floor. How do you know if you're still an artist or just a product? Miss Elena smiled. An artist keeps bleeding even when no one's clapping. Anna wiped her eyes quietly. Days later, Anna made a decision. She called the studio and declined. The big role? Her agent was shocked. Do you understand what you're walking away from? The voice said on the other end. Anna replied calmly. Yes. For the first time I do. She didn't need the world to scream her name. She needed peace. And, maybe, a way to help someone else who felt invisible. 2. The moment came faster than expected. Anna was invited to speak at a small school in East Law. A teacher had written her a letter after the viral video, saying, Our students watched your moment with Keanu. Many of them have never been clapped for in their lives. Would you come? Anna said yes. She walked into the school alone. No bodyguards, no red carpets. Just her. The students stared in surprise as she entered their simple theater room. Anna smiled and said, You don't need a stage to matter. Students sat still, eyes wide, waiting. Anna began to tell her story, not the polished one, not the Hollywood version, but the real one. About being ignored, about crying alone in her trailer, about thinking she didn't belong. About Keanu clapping in a silent room, about how one act of kindness lit something inside. Her, she thought, was lost. Some students cried, some smiled softly, but all of them listened. Anna didn't ask them to clap, but when she finished, they stood up anyway. Every single one of them. When she walked out of that school, the sun hit her face like a spotlight. But this time, it wasn't blinding. It was warm. Keanu called her that night. How was the school? He asked. They clapped, Anna said. He chuckled. I hope that's not becoming a habit, maybe, she said. But this time it felt like they were. Clapping for themselves, too. Keanu paused. Then you gave them something. What's that? Permission, he said. Anna smiled, and for the first time, she understood what that really meant. Anna didn't expect the moment at the school to stay with her, but it did. It followed her into her dreams, to quiet afternoons, into how she looked at people passing by. For the first time in years, she saw others not as part of a crowd, as people trying to be noticed, trying to matter. A week after the school visit, Anna sat at a quiet cafe by herself. No makeup, no sunglasses. No one recognized her, and that felt good. She watched the people around her, a father trying to calm his crying baby, young man practicing lines from a script, a waitress with tired eyes but a kind smile. All of them were carrying invisible. Wait, Anna felt it deeply now because she had carried it too. That night, Anna and Keanu met again, this time at a little bookstore he had told her about, tucked between two buildings in a sleepy neighborhood. It was dimly lit and smelled like paper and time. They walked through the aisles slowly. I think you were right, Anna said. About what? About applause? She whispered. It doesn't mean what I thought it did. Keanu raised an eyebrow. I used to think it meant love, Anna said, or worth. But now I think maybe it just means someone noticed. And sometimes, Keanu said gently, people notice the wrong things. Anna nodded, but sometimes someone claps for the right thing. Like truth, he said. Yes. She replied. They stood in front of a shelf filled with old poetry books. You know? Anna said, there's something powerful about someone who claps when it's not popular. You did that, Keanu? Said at the school. Anna smiled. I guess we pass it on. A few days later, Anna got a call from a young actress she had once worked with, named Lila. Lila was talented but shy, full of promise, but always shrinking herself in rooms that didn't see her. I saw your school video, Lila said. I cried. Me too, Anna replied. Can we meet? Lila asked. I need help. Anna agreed without hesitation. They met at a park. Lila was nervous, fidgeting with the sleeve of her sweater. What's wrong? Anna asked gently. Got cast in a role, Lila said. My first big one. That's great. It should be, Lila whispered. But I feel like they chose me for my look, not for my soul. Anna's eyes softened. They asked me to change things, Lila continued. My voice, my hair, the way I move. And every time I speak from the heart, they cut the scene. Anna listened closely. I'm scared I'll disappear into something I'm not, Lila said, her voice cracking. Anna reached out and held her hand. Then don't. She said, how? Lila asked. I'm nobody. They won't listen. Anna took a deep breath. Then she told Lila about that night, the silence, the ache, and Keanu's clap. That one clap saved me, Anna said. Not because it was loud, but because it was real. Lila wiped her eyes. You just need one person to see you, Anna whispered. Even if that person is you. That weekend, Anna invited Lila to a table read for a small indie project she had just joined. No big studio, no pressure. Just real people, trying to tell a story that mattered. Keanu was there too, when Lila walked in. Nervous but brave, he stood and smiled warmly. We're lucky to have you, he said. Lila froze, her eyes wide. Thank you, she whispered. And as she sat down, something in her posture shifted. A little taller, a little freer, sometimes. All it takes is one honest welcome to begin again. After the table read, Anna walked out with Keanu. You knew what she needed, she said to him. So did you, Keanu replied. I think this is who I'm becoming now, Anna said quietly. Not just an actress, but someone who sees. That's more powerful than any role, he said. She looked up at the stars, then at him. Did you ever wish someone had clapped for you when you needed it most? Keanu paused. Once he said, What happened? I kept walking, he replied. Anna took his hand gently. Thank you for stopping that night, for not walking away. Keanu gave a small nod. Sometimes the quietest moments echo the longest. A few weeks later, Rana received a package in the mail. No return name, just a simple box. Inside it was a photo. It was her standing on stage during that final scene. Eyes full of tears, right before Keanu had clapped, and beneath it, a handwritten note. Your silence spoke louder than 1,000 cheers. Thank you for not giving up. Anna stared at the note, her heart full. This was no longer about applause. It was about presence, about truth, about being brave when the room stays quiet. Anna began visiting more schools, not as a celebrity, but as someone who had been broken and pieced back together by kindness. She talked about being seen, about listening, about clapping for someone else, even when the world forgets. Keanu came with her sometimes. Other times, he stayed behind, knowing she didn't need him to be there to carry the message, because now, Anna was the message. And everywhere she went, someone stood up and clapped, not just for her, but for themselves. A quiet morning began with a call. Anna sat on her balcony, sipping tea, when her phone rang. She didn't recognize the number, but something told her to answer. The voice on the other end was soft, almost trembling. Is this Ana de Armas? Yes, Anna said gently. You don't know me, the woman said, but I work at a community center downtown. We have a group of teenage girls who've been through some hard things. We watched your talk at the school. One of the girls hasn't. Spoken since she got here? But after your video, she whispered for words. Anna leaned forward, listening closely. She said she sees me too. The woman paused, her voice cracked. I don't know what you're doing with your life right now, but would you come? Meet them? Anna didn't even hesitate. Yes, she said. Why me when? 2 days later, Anna stood in a small room with peeling paint and mismatched chairs. The girls sat quietly in a circle. Some looked down, others looked away. Their eyes carried stories too heavy for their age. Anna didn't give a speech. She sat on the floor with them. My name is Anna, she said, and for a long time I felt like I had to shout just to be heard. But then someone clapped for me, when no one else did. And that changed me. The girls stayed quiet, so Anna kept speaking softly. You don't need a spotlight to be important. You don't need applause to be worthy. You just need one moment. One kind person to remind you that you matter. Slowly, one of the girls looked up. A tiny voice said, Was the man in the video your friend? Anna smiled. He's more than that. He's someone who listens when others stay silent. The girl nodded slowly, and for the first time since entering that center, she smiled. After the visit, Anna walked out to the street where Keanu was waiting in his car. She got in quietly, her eyes glassy. How was it? He asked. They're all just trying to be seen, she said, just like I was. And were they? Maybe for the first time, Anna whispered. They drove in silence. But it wasn't empty. It was full of quiet understanding. A week later, Anna and Keanu were asked to be part of a small documentary about human connection and healing through art. They agreed. But only under one condition. It wouldn't be about them. It would be about the people no one clapped for. The filmmakers. Followed Anna as she visited shelters, schools, and quiet places where voices had been lost. She didn't perform. She just listened, held hands, and told her story. At one point, she stood in an old church-turned-community space, surrounded by girls writing poems. One of them stood and read hers aloud. It said, We are not empty. We are just quiet waiting for someone to notice our Rio Tana. Clapped first, and this time, the whole room followed. Meanwhile, Keanu visited a veterans center alone. He didn't tell anyone. He simply walked in, sat with an old soldier in a wheelchair and listened to his stories. Stories no one had asked about in years. After an hour, the man looked at Keanu and said, Thank you for sitting with me. Keanu smiled. You don't need to thank me. The man nodded. But no one's clapped for me in a long time. Keanu stood and clapped. Just once. The man didn't cry, but his eyes told the story. The documentary aired quietly. No big premiere. No. Red carpet, just a release online with a simple title. The ones who were never clapped for it spread slowly. Not viral, not loud, but real messages began pouring in. My mother watched this. She said she finally felt like someone understood her silence. My son, who hasn't spoken in months, asked if he could go visit a shelter after watching it. I clapped alone in my room after the video ended, and I felt free. Anna sat with her phone in her hand and tears on her face. This wasn't fame. This was something deeper. This was purpose. Weeks passed. Anna kept visiting places that had no cameras, no microphones, no followers. She sat with people the world forgot, and each time she said the same thing. I see you. That became her way of clapping now. Not loud, not flashy, just presence. One evening, Keanu invited Anna to an old theater. It was abandoned, seats dusty, curtains torn, stage creaking beneath their feet. He stood at the center and looked out at the empty rows. This was the first stage I ever stepped on, he said. Anna looked around, her eyes soft. Was anyone there to clap? She asked. No, he said. Just the janitor. She chuckled. Did he clap? No. Keanu smiled. But he nodded. Same thing, Anna whispered. She walked to the center of the stage and stood where he had stood years ago then. Slowly she began to clap. Not for herself, for him, Keanu. Looked away, his eyes wet. He He whispered, "Thank you." "You clapped for me," Anna said. "Now it's my turn." They stood there for a long time, two souls who once felt invisible, now clapping for others and for each other. Months passed. The noise of the industry had faded from Anna's life, not because it left her, but because she stopped chasing it. She no longer needed flashing lights to feel real. She no longer needed crowded rooms to feel important. No longer waited for others to define her worth. Instead, she had chosen something quieter and deeper: connection. Truth. The act of seeing. The act of clapping for others. For herself. And even for silence. The last school she visited was in a small desert town. The building was cracked and faded. The paint peeled from the doors. But inside were children who had never been on a stage, never performed a monologue, never even heard applause in their lives. Anna stood in front of them, a small circle of boys and girls sitting on old mats. "I'm not here as an actress," she said. "I'm here as someone who once felt invisible." A boy raised his hand. "Are you famous?" he asked. Anna smiled. "Sometimes, that's not the best thing I've been." "What's the best?" he asked. "Being someone who notices others," she said. They stared at her. "Sure." Then one of the girls whispered, "Does it hurt to not be clapped for?" Anna paused. Her voice caught. "Yes," she said. "Ah." "But the hurt goes away when you realize your worth isn't tied to their hands. It's inside you. Always." After the session, one of the teachers approached her with a folded piece of paper. "One of the girls drew this for you," she said. Anna opened it. It was a drawing of two stick figures, one sitting alone with a sad face, the other standing. And clapping above them in a child's handwriting, it said, "I'll be the one who claps now." Anna's heart broke in the best way that night. She returned to the old abandoned theater with Keanu. They didn't speak much. They didn't need to, Anna.
Placed the child's drawing on the edge of the dusty stage, propping it against an old spotlight.
"Is what it's all about," she said. Keanu nodded. "When the first person claps," she continued, "it gives others permission to do the same. It becomes a chain, quiet revolution." Keanu walked to the front row and sat in the middle seat. Anna stood on the stage. "You remember how it felt?" she asked. "That first time no one clapped for me?" He nodded slowly. "Yes. And how you stood up." "I didn't plan to," he said. "My body just moved. My heart knew." "That changed everything," Anna whispered. "You were already enough," Keanu said. "The clap didn't make it true. It just reminded you." Anna's eyes glistened. "Thank you for reminding me." He looked up at her with warmth. "Now you've reminded so many others." Anna looked around the dark, empty theater, and for a moment, she imagined all the people who had once sat in silence, too scared to clap for themselves, too wounded to stand. But now, they were rising. They were finding their hands again. The documentary continued to grow slowly, reaching corners of the world where light rarely went. People began starting clap circles, small gatherings in schools, shelters, cafes, and hospitals, where individuals stood and shared something real. After each story, everyone clapped. Not because it was perfect, but because it was true. Anna and Keanu never claimed credit. They just kept going, showing up clapping when no one else would, until others started doing it too. On the anniversary of the night that started it all, the scene where no one clapped for Anna, the director, hosted a private screening of the film. Anna didn't want to go at first. She had already made peace with the past, but Keanu sent her a message. It's not about the film. It's about the echo. She understood. They arrived together. This time the crew was different. Not more famous, just more aware, more present after the screening. There was silence again, but not the cold kind, the soft kind, the kind that comes after truth. Then, from the back of the room, someone stood and began to clap, then another, until the whole room was on their feet, clapping, not just for Anna, not just for the scene, but for everyone who had ever stood on a stage inside their heart and waited for someone, anyone, to notice. Anna didn't cry. She smiled, and looked at Keanu. He was already clapping. And this time, he wasn't alone. Later that night, Anna wrote a message on a small card and taped it to her mirror. It said, "Don't wait for the room to clap. Be the reason it starts." She looked at her reflection, then turned off the lights. The mirror still reflected faintly, because even in darkness, the message stayed, and so did the echo.